This is part 2 of our non-denominational Christmas episode. Thanks for tuning in.
This thing has got a pull tab here. And I wonder if I could...
Okay.
So pull that tab.
Good.
So if you try to pull this tab here...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you see?
I do not.
So this is what I figured would happen. It's like, it leaves... It doesn't come off cleanly.
That's like,
good.
Like, so this
video
is...
game systems.
There you
like
go.
the
Yeah.
PlayStation 2
Yeah.
way back when they
So-
had those
Yeah,
games,
that's
you
a good point.
You opened it, it said void underneath it, so they would know not to work on it if it was ever.
So that's the security measure right there.
Yep.
And then the thing is, obviously, if you take this thing and pull it through, then that thing's broken.
Got it. This is something that we've talked about, or I don't know if I've talked about in this show. I've talked about it too, but Van Winkle. So bourbon. You talk Pappy. People have heard that name, that term. There's a big counterfeit secondary to them right now. I mean, they've been taking off a lot of the boards for sale for trade just because people are counterfeiting them. So they've talked about this for probably 3 years. They've asked them to actually do something like this.
Yeah.
So this looks pretty awesome. I don't think you can copy that.
No, it's so simple, and I think given enough time, there's some enterprising individual that will figure out a way around it. You know what I mean? But
Okay, I was going to ask a question about that.
But yeah, I mean, I could see somebody at some point figuring out a way to melt just the wax around it and then reapply it. We're getting a little like too deep for that, but no, I mean, just for something that's simple, easy, a sticker, it's kind of like senseless not to do that.
But it's also the first thing you came up with. So again, when 2019 was counterfeited and they found out about Side Project did the right thing, they took immediate action. They wanted some of those bottles back just to see how it was done, see what it tastes, what they put in there, everything.
Yeah.
So great on them. Gave people credit. Maybe gave them bottles. I don't know. But this is the first time they did the new label. So
Yeah.
Or the new sticker. So with this one looking at, I think it poured a little thicker than the other one, but looking at it in the glass, it doesn't lace as much to me. Mm-mm. I've not smelled it yet, so we'll see. Same kind of nose, very similar to me.
I think for me, more chocolate forward.
Yep, I actually got a little more sweeter on this one.
Well, that's kind of what he wants to go for. You know, when we've heard his podcast, him talk, that's what he wants to go for.
That first one was a little more dark fruit, a little bit more whiskey. This one, I think, is a little bit sweeter on the nose.
I get a lot of whiskey.
No, I'm saying the first one was a little more whiskey than
No, I'm
this one.
saying on this one I get a lot of whiskey.
You get more than the first one?
I don't know, I'm getting a lot of whiskey. I want to get a really dry taste.
Yeah. So the first one, I got more whiskey.
I know you got more on the first one. I'm just saying,
Did
I don't
you
know
get more on the first one?
I'm not sure if I got more on the first one.
Really? So what did you get? Did you get more whiskey on this one or on the first one?
Which one are we talking about?
Yeah, the first one.
Who's on first?
What's on second?
Did you get the first base?
So I'm going to ask the question the listeners want to know. Even though not even posted these yet, but they want to know it. How many C's, Jeff?
How thick?
On this one or the other one?
On this one.
This one.
Yeah, this one.
Not the
This
other
one,
one.
not the other one. This one.
We're talking about.
How many C's?
The 2020.
thick is this 2020 BBT
Hold on a second.
with a holographic thingy?
Hold, please.
I need to play Jeopardy music. I don't have it.
That's gonna sound great on the audio.
Three
C's.
All right.
Three C's?
I would have said 5, but
Yeah.
3 will work.
3 C's is
So
commendable.
let's compare the blends, though. So both of them have OWKs. The 2019 has a Willet for 21 months. This one has a Willet for 15 months. The second part, OWK, both of them have Eagle Rare. The first one was 21 months. This is 32. So more on the Eagle Rare, less on the Willet. Mm-hmm. That's one thing you notice.
That might be it, yeah, because Eagle Rare has a very distinct taste, I think.
You think so?
I don't like Eagle Rare.
I'm not an Eagle Rare fan either, but I don't know that I could pick it out. So I've had this discussion before with other people. I don't know that
Four
I can
Roses
pick
and
a
Eagle
barrel.
Rare, you don't think they're...
Oh, I can taste the bourbon
That's
difference.
what I'm saying, the barrel. Oh, barrels? I
Yeah.
don't know about barrels.
Yeah,
But,
well, this is barrels.
but I'm saying, like, I don't know if I can taste barrel difference, but I'm just saying the taste of Eagle Rare is different.
how many barrels have you tasted?
I like to lick the outside of the barrel.
So you haven't
where the
gotten
dirt is.
You haven't gotten on the inside of a barrel.
I like to get inside there. I like to
Yeah?
lick. I have to lick the
You
inside
lick
of the
the
barrel.
inside?
Yeah.
Yeah. How does the inside
baby.
taste?
Do we want to say
Like
that?
chicken?
This is a family friendly show.
Is it like chicken?
How many C's thick is that
It tastes like
inside?
chicken. It tastes like chicken.
So that's the main difference. They have another OWK on this one. Well,
Perfect
well.
size.
Spill a fucking third thing.
You know, little differences on the blends, but he talked about it on there. He doesn't want to go for the same beer every year. He wants it different. You know, wants to be unique to him.
I like that. I like that.
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bourbon County goes for the same. It doesn't always work out.
Yeah.
So price on this one still say $50-$60. What do you think there, Jeff?
I still think same idea.
Yeah.
If I had a chance to buy this for $50, why not? You're not gonna get it again. It's not like it's something easy to buy. It's not like you're going to do it every day.
I think one of the best things he has going for him is the fact that he tries to make it different every single year. So there is some nuance. I think if he was, you take that 2019 for example that we just had, it was good. It was really good, but nobody here would pay a secondary value for it.
No.
I think if he was trying to recreate that every single time and everybody knew, you have a lot of people not trying to
Would you
get
pay
it.
secondary on this?
I don't even think I'd pay secondary on this, man.
I mean, I would never pay that much for a beer, I think, anyway, so it doesn't matter. But no.
I mean, we talked about that, the Ambiente. I keep going back to that, man. And it's a different beer. It's got a lot of food additives in it, with the coconut and all that.
So
cinnamon
you
and all
say
that
it's a
stuff.
different beer, but honestly, part of this blend, don't know what percentage, is actually their Vibes recipe, which
Yeah.
I think they use for that barrel aged Ambiente. It's
Yeah.
from Shared. They're
Yeah.
like Side Project of Side Project.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I would not pay secondary for this one either. After
I
having
wouldn't
it,
either. It's still really good. I'm
$400
really glad we got
It's-
to
it's
try
a great
it.
beer.
I'm glad we didn't have to pay secondary value for
Yeah.
it, But it's good for what it is. And it's funny, how we were talking about like Firestone Walker and their blending and how they used to be like the king of barrel age. Like something like this 10 years ago, people would be losing their shit over. I mean, people are already losing their
still
shit
do.
over it.
They still
do. But like back then, it would have been like the whole like mind blown. Like, how could somebody do this with a beer?
Sure.
And now it's like I would have done that back then. Now I'm trying it. This is good. Is it the best thing I've ever had? No.
I think it is the best thing I've ever had. If I look at non-adjunct barrel aged stouts, what's better?
I think BBT's way up there. Yeah.
I'm
I
not
think
saying there's
I
anything.
don't know what this beer here is, but the first two times I've had BBT, 2017, 2018, when I had that, that was a 5 out of 5 if I've ever seen it. It was the best non-adjunct barrel aged
I've
stout
only
I've
had
ever
the
had.
2017, but when we went down there and we had it there, I thought it was amazing.
Remember
Amazing.
we had the hops discussion, IPA discussion,
Sure.
about how there's a threshold of extremity. So IPAs originally started, they were pretty hoppy. And then we developed double IPAs, triple IPAs, hazy IPAs. And it just got to a point to where we're seeing how hoppy we can make this beer. And we've kind of reached a wall on what you could do with an IPA
Right.
without adding fucking milk sugar and, raspberries and all that stuff. Just like a strict IPA.
Dingleberries.
Yeah, the schnozberries. There's only so much you can do with an IPA with given ingredients. And we've got great IPAs out there. But now there's a lot of people making great IPAs.
I wonder if we're going to do the non-hoppy IPA.
What the fuck does that mean?
How would you do it?
Well, we
What
went all the way
would
to
you-
the
it would
hoppy
be an
IPA.
IPA.
Now let's start taking it back a notch. We went for high IBUs.
Like a lager?
I think New England IPAs.
Lagers
like
have
a
hops.
Budweiser?
Lagers have hops.
Cover texted me.
So you want like a malt liquor?
Let's have the multi. It's called craft IPA.
A Maltpier? A Maltpier?
The Maltpier.
Coke 45 makes it.
The new Maltpier is
Yeah.
all malt, no hops.
Yeah.
What were you saying, Jordan?
I think New England IPAs and milkshake IPAs already went there, right? They took away the bitterness from the IPA.
The bitterness is
To
gone,
give
yeah.
you
Yeah.
more of the tropical side.
Yeah.
But I was talking about this with Jason about coconut beers, right? After having that Coconut Vibes batch 2, I just keep chasing that white whale, thinking the next coconut stout I get is going to be just as good as that. And
it's
it never
not.
lives
Yeah.
up.
Okay, so here's the thing. Well, and you're talking about like just greatness, right? And that's a coconut beer. So with this, this one's got probably some adjuncts in the blends, probably like the other one.
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe
I mean, it
some vanilla
should
or
be.
something.
Yeah, the way it talks, vanilla.
Maybe, but for the most part, we're talking about like a coconut stout or coconut IPA, whatever, a beer with these like sweet food adjuncts in it. But this is not. This is just beer. This is
Beer
just
barrel time.
exactly. This is just the
Exactly.
4 main ingredients. And I think you go back to that IPA discussion we had. You got your primary ingredients, and you have what you can do with an IPA. We've kind of gotten there. And there's a lot of people making great IPAs. So when you take the best IPA you can think of that you've ever had in your entire life, be it from Trillium, Treehouse, Monkish, anywhere in the entire country, in the entire world, there's probably an IPA at another brewery that makes something very similar. I think with a barrel-aged stout with no adjuncts, I think we're kind of at that threshold.
Are you saying that hazy IPAs taste similar?
No. I think with barrel-aged stouts, I think it's kind of a similar situation. This is great. This is fantastic. And I think what they're doing with, boiling length and creating the body and stuff is fantastic. But at the end of the day, I think it's not that what can I think of that I've had that's better than this. It's that there's a lot of options out there that are pretty similar.
Okay, I see what you're saying there. Yeah,
Like this isn't like
I think
12 levels better than anything.
the
I've
next
had.
stage is probably magical potions. Like,
You've never had a magical potion?
like beers that are
Dude,
also
we're there.
magical potions. So when you drink them, you get certain powers.
I did think I could fly.
What do you need? What do you need to make them?
You usually need Eye of Newt,
Okay,
the hair of
the dog.
Gingrich.
a lock of Newt Gingrich's hair, some sawdust, 4 spiders. I mean, things like that. And you can have like a beer that also gives you like magical powers. Like you can see through walls and stuff, undress people.
So I get what you're saying, man.
I can do that now. Come here, you want to try?
Undress me. You already are with your
I
eyes.
can do it, yeah.
Me and Jordan have had some conversations about this, and I didn't agree with him at first, but I do now. I'm just being honest. I fully agree now. I think a lot of it is the time. So timing. When you had the beer, what circumstance you had the beer.
Oh, yeah.
It's after work. Like you get that first.
Was this
I don't
Jordan's
care what it
position or
is. This was Jordan's
Yeah, he's
position.
right.
I mean, I didn't totally disagree, but I didn't understand it then. So I do now.
All consumption is emotional.
If I drive 5 hours, the first time I went to get this, I was so excited to have that beer, like the opportunity to buy it. We had on site. I'm like, I don't think it could have been bad. You know what I mean? Like
100% correct.
Yeah.
Remember, we went to Toppling Goliath in Iowa
Assassin.
for that release. Yeah, and like we have it there, and it's the whole experience of going out of your way, meeting friends, hanging out, partying. Pre-COVID, obviously, and there's like a lot of people hanging out. Even like one of the brewery. Remember, we had what was this? That one stout they had, smoke something.
So when we rolled there,
water.
though, if you remember, we actually missed the pours at this pizza place or whatever.
Yeah.
So one of the guys in my beer group, shout out Jason R. He actually saved us
What
a
up,
pour.
dog?
Remember that?
Yeah.
So we're drinking after him. Wouldn't do that now. COVID. But anyway, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
To get to try that. It's a 5. We all say it's a 5, but then we look at each other like, it's really not great.
No, yeah.
You know.
No, I 100% think that's true.
They have really a lot of dark fruit now.
That's why Budweiser tastes so good when you're fishing.
Cougar bake tastes
when you're
better.
fishing with sandwiches.
I heard Cougar bake tastes better.
Cougar bait.
I mean, this is
think it
a
is
great beer, and we're splitting hairs. We're not crushing this beer. It's great, but for secondary price $400, I'm probably passing.
I think there's you look at the rating system we all kind of universally adopted, and it stemmed from Untapped. Honestly, when we all rate beers colloquially, we talk about a
That's a
0
big
out of
word.
5.
What's that mean,
What
Jeff?
does it mean, Doctor?
I don't know what it's talking about.
I don't know.
I just made it up.
Okay.
When we rate beers, we throw out a 0 to 5 scale.
Sure.
On a scale of 5, how's this beer taste? And for a lot of your like fair to middling beers, we'll give them a 3.5. That's kind
Or
of
the
like
fib tick 4.25.
4.25. Yeah. But for just like an average beer, it's not actually 2.5. It's more like 3.5. So the disparity between 3.5 and like 4.25 is kind of a lot. Once you get up to like the 4.25 out of 5, this is getting really specific. You're starting to talk about great beers. Once you go to like 4.25 to like 4.5, 4.75, you're talking about exceptional, mind blowing. The thing is, with beers like this, we're talking about between like 4.5 or 4.75 to 5. But I mean, it works on like so many different levels because it's just a number. But really, I feel like we're just doing this. Like you asked me like, well, what have you ever had that's better than this? And it's like, well, I mean, this might be better than this. That doesn't mean this is bad. This one that's just like a tiny notch below it is still a great beer.
It goes back to a rating system in my mind, like I always think of it, and everybody's different. Do I rate to style or do I rate to just what overall? Like how do you? And honestly, I go back and forth on that when I rate my beers. So don't believe everything you see on my ratings.
My rating's usually like, does this taste good?
Yeah, Jeff has a very wide rating scale. It goes from 3.62 to 3.68, and everything in between there. It's very wide.
Like hoppy, good, citrus.
That's bullshit. We went to a beer fest, and he had a moleskin notepad that he flipped out.
I did.
And he's got a quill pen that he's
feather?
taking
Yeah,
notes in.
the little feather, yeah.
Well,
Dipped in
He had
ink.
an inkwell.
Inkwell.
He actually, he had a.
I think it was whale blubber. Like he melted down.
He had a
I don't
little
know.
boy in a penguin tuxedo following him around with his inkwell, and he would go over and dip him.
I miss that guy.
He had a monocle. He was a 12-year-old
I
kid.
think his name was Herman, but I might be mistaken.
Yeah, well, he didn't. He had his tongue cut out, so we couldn't understand anything he said.
Well, that's how slavery works. But anyways,
Yeah, he just called him Gimp as we ran around.
he was also TMI. I shouldn't go to that.
Do you like 19 or 20 better, Jeff?
I guess after it kind of grew on me, we sat here, and I think the 20.
I like the 20 better. I think the 20 had a little bit.
Chocolate.
Yeah, I think it was a little bit more confectionery. You mentioned dry. I didn't think it was
I
drier.
think the 19 for me, because I like that oiliness of
Yeah.
the 19. And it had big tobacco notes on
The
it.
other hard part when you compare these is they're at least a year apart, right? So even though it's waxed and all this stuff, you probably still got a little oxidation or something's changed in that bottling. So it's hard to compare a year-old stout versus a fresh stout. I don't know.
True.
It's very hard to compare. But let's get to the rye. Got a water over there, Matt. We can rinse out.
You got a bottle.
There's one right next to you.
Oh, I do. I'm sorry. I thought Jeff spilled it all like he's dropped 8,000 things.
Don't get it near him. He will. Jeff, be careful. Do you want me to help you with that?
A little bit. Can you come over here and hold it?
Would you keep your eyes on it? You're making me
Yeah,
nervous.
where's Herman at? Herman!
Can you come hold this for me?
Pour. Looks pretty much the same. Dark, viscous, thick. How many C's, Jeff?
Actually, I think it's not as thick as that one.
I think the head's kind
You're
of
right.
around on this one compared to the other two.
So I don't think it's as
Totally
thick.
agree.
That's actually kind of weird feeling. So the first two, there's kind of a standardized body on them. You're expecting this kind of like viscosity. This one, you get it at the front, and then it just tapers off.
It does have more of an oily mouthfeel, but I don't think it's as thick of a body.
It's kind of
wow.
strange. I feel like it started that way, and then it just
Kinda
disappeared.
drops off me.
Yeah, it just like it's just gone.
But the finish on it's real nice.
It's a nice beer.
So first time they've done this, definitely get the rye.
Yeah,
I mean, you get rye throughout.
I get a lot more spice.
I wonder if rye barrels, and I don't know, who knows, but I wonder if rye barrels would make it thinner. Like, would it cut through some of it?
I can't
know.
answer that. I don't know.
Well, the other things, if you look at the base on this one, so it's Derivation 3 and OWK. They took out the rye in Derivation 3. They took out the vanilla bean conditioning OWK. Maybe those two things led to a thicker mouthfeel. I don't know.
It reminds me of my
Now we're
childhood.
getting really beer nerds, yeah.
Summer of '85, I lost my virginity in North Carolina mountains to a woman who was 67.
Man named Jed.
And that was the second time.
I heard he was a poor mountaineer.
That was the second time he lost his virginity.
He found it the first time.
He found it. He got it back. Then he lost it again.
First time was like,
Virginity. Jed's like, I got it right here, buddy.
are you sweating over there?
Sweater.
Huh?
Are you sweating?
Turn that shit back
Hell
on.
yes, I'm sweating.
Take
I'm
your sweater
melting.
off.
Oh, look at that sweater, though. So for anybody listening
Are you
and not
doing the-
watching,
are
he's
you
got
doing
a Ric
the
Flair sweater that
booty-
lights up. Christmas sweater. That's
Ric
like
Flair, woo!
that's like nylon too. That's not like traditional sweater
It's hot
material.
as shit. I'll just tell you.
Is Ric
It's like a
Flair-
wetsuit.
Do you ever have those track suits like in
Yeah.
1984? But just imagine that, except it's like padded inside.
It's
that's what this
lined with
is.
like flannel.
It is. It's very itchy and
that's
hot.
horrible.
Is Ric
But
Flair-
it's awesome. Is it worth it or not? $50-$60, same price tag roughly.
I think to me, it's all the same logic. These are not easy to get beers. They're all stellar beers.
You'd buy it.
Great stouts. Why not buy it?
yeah, Matt.
Out of the three,
It's not my favorite. This really.
I think this is my favorite.
Oh, it's not my
three.
favorite though.
There's something weird about I think the inconsistency of it that makes me like it more. The fact that it starts out full body and it tapers off into something that is like an amalgamation of what the other ones were.
Another big
like,
word.
I actually appreciate it. Like I think it's
What's amalgamation?
I don't know.
I like it being unique. I like it being different. The weird kind of effervescence of like the bubbles. It's like a little bit fizzier. But then like the added spice character of the rye. But I maybe only like it because we've had the other two back to back and this
Yeah.
one is different, you know?
Yeah.
Like I can't really put my finger on that, but out of what we've had, I actually like this the best.
I think it might be number one for me too. This
Yeah.
is the 2020.
Yeah.
2019 is a third, but I'd like to see how this one ages a
Mm-hmm.
little bit. But it also worries me with that carb or like whatever that is in there.
if it would turn into something like bready to where it would just it would just
Eat it
turn to
away.
bubble. Yeah.
But I think I'd buy it for sure at $50-$60. But when you're looking at $650 for secondary,
That's insane.
Nope.
That's
That's more than all of my kids' holiday presents put together.
The carbonation
Lot
pulls
more.
the rye out for me though. Like that brings the rye out a
Yeah,
lot more.
so-
Like I'm wondering if that's intentional.
yeah. So Bill's saying the carbonation pulls out the rye for him. I agree with that, but it might be also that maybe go ahead.
Carbonation it helps bring out a lot of profiles in the beer. You have an IPA, you add a little more carbonation, that you're gonna get more bitterness from the hops. You got a Pilsner, you add more carbonation in that Pilsner, you're gonna get more of that hop character coming out of that Pilsner.
The other thing we're talking about, it's more carb, but if you look at this in your glass, there's no carb.
I'm not actually sure it is more carb. I think there's something about
Yeah,
it
no,
that it's
I
like.
don't know either. That's why I asked.
I mean, you're right. Like,
you know more than
No,
I think.
I taste it too. It's just when I look at it, it's like this is not what I'm getting from the carb
It
level.
looks cask or something.
Yeah, exactly.
But here's the other question: since you're all on the "is it worth it" secondary, have you ever had a beer that was $500 or $600 secondary that you would be, yep, I'd pay that again?
Yeah, so we've talked
Or
about
pay that once,
we've talked
sorry.
about a few on our show, and I'm sure we'll talk about more in the future. I think we have when you break it down in if this is it's circumstance. If this is a trip that you go to, just like me and you went to Goose Island. So
Yeah, sure,
we
yeah.
talked about this last time. We plopped down $80 for a beer. Didn't bat an eye. I would do it again.
I would do it again that day.
Exactly. So if this is $500 for this beer on site, and you have 5 guys with you who have never tried it before, that's probably something I do at that point. If I've never had it,
It's a tough call. That means each one of us paying $100 for.
you're
how
getting
much?
5 ounces. So
For
do the,
5
do the
ounces.
math, Jeff.
So $100 for 5 ounces. That's a tough call.
How much is that per ounce?
That's $20 an ounce. What was that?
There's no way it's $20 an ounce.
How much
Jeff
is that?
has came through with the right
much
answer
is
for
that?
one.
It's $20.
Sorry, it's
Okay.
$20 an ounce.
He had to
got it right.
ask. Okay.
That's. I'd be like, I'd feel peer pressure to say.
I think I would do it.
Yeah, like
I think I would do it on site if I had 4
That's
guys,
pretty
5 guys
pricey.
with me.
That's pretty pricey.
Well, I didn't say it was cheap. Would you, Matt?
Well, actually, $20 an ounce. That's like okay bourbon price.
So you just changed your mind now?
I miss that's because look, if you go,
I mean,
get
you can talk yourself
a 20,
into anything.
What
Is
bourbon
it-
can
is
you
it
get for $20 an ounce in a restaurant or a bar?
Depends on where you're at, but you should probably be able to get Elmer T. Lee easy, well, or 12 easy.
You think okay? So it's,
What about KBVS on site? The seller price.
Okay.
at
I don't know if they can hear Jordan, so I'm going to repeat it. So,
Yeah, that's
KBBS from, Topping Goliath in Iowa. So, you say $25 an ounce for that on draft. Absolutely, I'd pay that every time.
But what about?
To try it
I think
once.
they have like vintage bottles there on seller price for like $1,200.
Then I'm
12-ounce
out.
bottle.
That's
Or 12-ounce
$1,000
bottle.
an ounce. No. I can't talk myself into that
So
one.
who's got all this money?
If I won the lottery, I
Who are
still
the
don't know
people
if I
besides
could do
Matt?
it.
Who are the people with all this
Well,
money?
see, so that's the thing. I think it's usually groups of guys getting together and splitting.
We can't split an ounce for $1,000.
No.
But like, if we're up there, I mean, and we're all together, it's like, hey, we're on a beer trip. Yeah, fuck it. Let's
don't- he
let's
don't
just
know
do
math.
it.
No,
Yeah.
George said something about.
No, it's $100 an ounce. It's a $1,200 bottle.
I thought you said
for 12
$1,000
ounces.
an ounce.
Oh.
$1,000
Yeah,
bottle was
12
off.
ounce.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, $1,000 a bottle.
Right.
Still, Jesus.
Well, so
y'all,
here,
y'all remember? Like, I think it's like 2 years ago.
still a lot of money.
That bartender emailed
Yep.
the guy that bought one on site. She
Yep.
mispriced that bottle, and she wanted him to pay. I think the $700 or $800.
so that's a great question to ask. If you're on site and you bought this bottle, and it should be $1,200, but they charged you $100. So you got a great deal. You're thinking, all right, awesome, man. And then you get home the next day. The bartender had emailed you, or the place emailed you and said, hey, you owe us $1,100.
How'd they get their email?
Fuck no.
Also, the answer is no. Sorry. And no court would ever side with them.
100% the answer is no.
Well,
right?
no,
Well, they're already gouging. Like the whole
Yes.
point of like
Also,
second,
yes,
it's
no
they're
court would
gouging
even
you.
side with them because you made a sale. It's on you, buddy. You made the sale. It's not on the customer. It's
That is a
on the
laugh out
retailer.
loud middle finger.
That's
Hell
right.
no.
But also, how they get your email?
Yeah.
Wow, how did they know your email? I don't
Yeah,
understand.
that's-
Maybe
some
they
of those
got tied to your credit card. I don't
yeah,
know.
some of those square.
Or maybe they're like a
payment
member or
systems.
something.
okay.
Yeah.
But there's no way, and nobody would side with the rest. No court would side with the restaurant or the bar.
No. It's not going to make it that far yet, no.
But it's like, hey, sorry, man, you charged me $100. You know, that's how it goes.
Yeah, I don't think I'm doing that. I mean,
they probably yelled at whoever
The
sold
other-
it and said, "Go get the rest of our money."
the other parts you look at. So if Topping Goliath, let's say you're charging $1,000 for the bottle, you can buy the damn bottle on secondary for under $600 now.
You get it now, yeah.
Yeah, so
still think it's
I think
overpriced.
Westbrook does the same thing. They'll have on-site seller lists. I think they have a Pappy barrel-aged Mexican cake, which honestly, if you've not had Pappy barrel-aged beers, you can't taste it.
Yeah.
So if they had that one for $1,000, you can also buy it secondary for probably $800. Like,
I still think both those prices are ridiculous.
if you don't know secondary at all, ask somebody before you spend that kind of money. Jesus Christ.
I don't think anybody looking, even like considering that amount of price, is going to ask somebody, that is in the know.
I don't necessarily. It's just like coming here to a local place that has bourbon that maybe somebody from Keeneland comes in to Justin's House of Bourbon.
These are these
They might
are
drop
prices of like.
$10K on a bottle that I've
This is like
done
going
for
to the club,
Yeah.
getting a bottle of shit, getting table service for $2,000 or something.
No,
That's
it's not.
That's exactly what I'm
This is,
saying.
no, it's actually not.
Okay.
Because if
No.
somebody's going to drop $10K on bourbon at Justin's House of Bourbon, they're in there because
10K.
they
Oh, there's
know about
bottles of
bourbon
that.
or they're interested in bourbon, so they're going to confer with some sort of source. If you're going
I
to a
don't think they
club,
are.
you're just. You're trying to get laid.
See, for
so-
me, both examples are just throwing away fucking money. I mean,
Yeah.
no beverage is worth $10,000.
That's why we have you on the show.
Agreed.
Thank you,
I just
Agreed.
don't get it. I don't get it.
You're our cynic.
Yeah, meet our cynic.
Cynic culture. I mean, if you have 10K, you can go put a down payment on a house, right? I mean, you don't need to go buy.
It's all
a beverage.
relative. If Jeff Bezos comes in town,
Well,
dropping
Jeff
10K
Bezos-
of here is like,
Oh,
that's
Jeff
what I'm
Bezos,
saying.
yeah, for
That's
sure.
what I'm saying.
That's like
dropping
what,
$10K
$10 to me. Or
10K,
you?
he didn't even notice 10K is gone. And I mean,
I'm saying,
No,
yeah.
he makes it back before he spends it, right?
he could
I mean,
donate half of his income and still be one of the wealthiest people
Yeah.
in the world.
Yeah, it's all relative.
Yeah.
It's all relative.
But we're not Jeff Bezos, sweetie.
No, but some people are close.
Even I work for a
your
living.
name, Jeff. Is that? Is that?
Yeah.
Even I have to work for a living, although I pretend
Do
I
you
work? For a
work?
living. Well, I pretend I work for a living.
No.
You post to Facebook a lot. I guess that's technically work.
I just post what I'm eating.
Yeah, you're good at that. You're very good at that.
I know, I'm
You get
awesome.
paid for that?
I'm awesome.
Yeah.
You read my
No,
posts?
nobody
Do you
said
read
you're
my
awesome.
posts?
But no.
Why don't you click like? You never like my posts.
So here's what I
Are
do
we
when I-
friends? Are we close friends?
When I see you on
And you
Facebook
never like my posts.
and I see
Do you
your
hide me?
posts and I go through like 6 words and I'm like
He's
The-
throwing away.
the first he'll post a picture of like pizza and then it'll be like, what is destiny? And then I'll click the little 3 dots and it'll open it up into like 1,000 words and I'm like, next.
So
giving you something to read, man.
I do more than that. I read like the first sentence, see where it's going. Then I read the last 2 sentences. Now I'm like, okay, whatever.
Your pickle caption the other day was pretty funny.
Yeah, it's my. First
I
of
look
all,
at your
I'm
pictures.
funny.
I look at your pictures.
My posts are very funny.
So you lose
The
me
fact
after
that you like say you're
paragraph.
funny, that's how we know you're funny.
Well, it's the only way I can get anyone to believe I'm funny. They tell them because they don't read the freaking posts.
You lose me after a paragraph on any post on social media. I'm done. I'm
I
not.
didn't know we
reading
were
it.
friends until you gave me the sad face on my post the other day.
Jeff
We're friends.
I didn't think so.
Jeff will post a picture of like eggs and be like, "What is nature? Let us define this term." And then you open it up and it's like 16
You
pages.
find out.
Yeah,
Yes.
because that's what I want to know when you're posting a picture of egg. So, was it worth it?
Secondary, hell no.
Across the board, I think no.
Yeah,
on
I think
all
on all
three.
the beers we try,
I hate to say it, but yeah, no.
and they're great beers, but secondary, no. And I think the breweries, like, if they ever were to listen to this, which they probably never will,
They'll listen.
we're not-
Oh, they will listen.
we're not bashing them. It's just secondary. If it's retail sales, even a little more, perfectly fine with that. Perfectly fine.
I'm on the fence. I think, depending on the circumstance, probably maybe.
We can talk him into it. Don't worry.
If I'm in a group scenario, it's like, fine, I'll do it. I'll take 6.
Matt, shut up. You're in.
I tried to buy a keg of beer on the trip and put it in the back of the car.
Yeah. Which was like the first keg that I ran into. I need a keg, so let's get a keg.
Where are we at? In Pennsylvania?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Guys, should I get this keg and put it in the car?
so
no,
I tried-
no, you should not.
we all try to talk him out of it.
You can't
and
return the keg.
I
We
really-
don't live here.
I don't want to fucking return. I can return a keg anywhere.
No, you can't return that keg anywhere.
Yeah, you can.
You have to bring it back to that place to get your deposit. You put a deposit there.
Are you kidding me?
You can't put a deposit there. Take it someplace
Do you
else.
not know how like keg deposits work?
Yeah, it's there. It's at that place.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Have you ever worked in a retail establishment before?
Yes, I have.
where?
In a lumberyard.
Have you ever worked in a liquor retail establishment?
No.
Lumberyards don't
Yeah, you
have
can get a keg
deposits.
deposit anywhere.
No, you put the deposit at that store. You can't go to another store and get your money back.
You put the deposit down to get the keg, and then you can return the keg anywhere, and they give you money for the keg.
I'm pretty
Correct.
sure that's not true.
No,
It's
that's
100%
No,
true.
Matt's
pretty sure
Same thing with that.
I have a keg in my cellar right now. Would you like to see? I can go return it
Well, I'm not
somewhere.
going to give you a deposit for it. I don't want it back.
Well, you don't have to, but somebody else will,
I'm
and then I
pretty
can
sure
show you
that's
that you're
fake
wrong.
news. Hashtag fake news.
All right, thanks for tuning in. Stay tuned. Next episode, Jeff's gonna dance naked and.
Wait, is the show over?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Are we over already?
Happy holidays. Woo!
Happy Hanukkah.
Happy
I can get turned on now, but
non-denominational holidays.
you know, it might.
There you go.